Almost everyone feels confused when they first start doing Aikido. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why and what to do about it. Aikido is really based on a lot of direct entries, but then circular movements. So many techniques require this direct entrance and then, as I said, circular movements. Also, when somebody attacks us, our natural reaction is either, well, it's fight or flight, isn't it? So it's either to sort of cringe like this, or it's to block. And ideally, Aikido does neither of those. It asks you to move in a different direction, to a different position, so that their attack becomes pointless. It doesn't harm you. And then we do a technique to diffuse this conflict. And the footwork feels unusual. For example, Tenkan. That's very counterintuitive for people. So to move that back foot around further behind you, it's very strange. It's very counterintuitive. So there are a lot of things that we can do. First of all, keep showing up at the dojo. All right. I always recommend a minimum 3 times per week attendance. I know a lot of people have trouble with that, but really, that'll be a huge difference. A huge improvement over twice a week will be 3 times a week. And what I recommend is that you just decide that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, this is what I do. And you just don't break that promise to yourself. Honor yourself and keep that promise. And you try to structure your work around that. If you have like a Calendly scheduler or something, block off that time that you're in Aikido. Treat it as if it's just as important as work, as your anniversary dinner that you promised your spouse, or, because it is, isn't it? Doesn't Aikido bring out your best self? So, anyway, the way that you can get through this awkward moment, a moment of months, where Aikido feels awkward and weird and confusing, is to keep showing up. There are circular movements instead of straight lines, although we do have straight lines as well. I think that blending rather than blocking is a huge one. A lot of Aikido people like to block kind of like this. They find themselves in an awkward position, and oftentimes with their head jutting forward and too close to nage. And so then they put their hand in front of their face. No. What good is this going to do you if you're in the wrong place? Right? If your hand is like right up in front of your face and you're in the wrong place, then the partner can still punch you, and then you'll be hitting yourself with the back of your own hand. So anytime that you feel like you need to block, you should be somewhere else. That's the message that a block gives you. If you catch yourself blocking, think to yourself, where could I have been that I wouldn't have even felt the need to block? Let's move on to the second point, and that is that timing works differently from what most people are expecting. So you enter instead of retreating. So it's very natural. If somebody attacks you, it's very natural to want to retreat, fight or flight, right? So most people will react with flight when they're attacked. And if you train and train and train and train, then you can build a new reflex to fight when you're attacked. But I believe it takes even more training to build the reaction or the reflex of enter without the fight trigger. So don't retreat, but also enter, but without fighting. And that gives you the possibility to diffuse if you've done the work, if you've done the training. That's a wonderful challenge that Aikido offers you. Also, we oftentimes move earlier than we want or feel comfortable doing. It's really difficult to impossible to push somebody's hand aside so that you've got a free path forward. So if we can go in when they're fully committed to the attack, but this is still up in the air, just starting to come down, This is a huge difference, isn't it? Than if it's already like, at your head, of course. And this takes practice. Then the other thing that that works differently is that balance has to be maintained. So as we go in and we turn and we do this and we do that, we also have to maintain our balance and our alignment, I'll add. Understanding all of this comes after the skill of being able to do it. Of course, somebody can explain to you, here's why we're going to practice these things, and this is helpful. We never did that in the dojo when I lived in Japan, but we got the explanations and the theory and the encouragement, everything verbal we got at the pub. And in the dojo, we really packed so much learning in by just, have you heard the expression wax on, wax off? I think everybody knows that expression. Just shut up and do it. If you find a teacher that you trust, and to decide whether you trust that teacher, are they good or not? Right? If their Aikido is good, then ask them how they did it, how they got there, right? And then once you've found that person, wax on, wax off. If they tell you to do this, do that. If they tell you this, do this. The repetition builds familiarity, and observation builds understanding. And then if you have chances to hang out with your sensei or senpai outside of class, do it. Take that opportunity. When I go out with my students or hang out with my students, there are a few students who will sit down and they'll not immediately start talking to the person next to them or to me or whatever. There are a few students who sit down and they just enjoy the quiet, especially if you hang out after class. Because after class, I find that there's a better chance of people being comfortable with silence. And those were the times where if I just sat down and shut up, my senpai would often, or my sensei, would often start a conversation in such an interesting direction, such an interesting topic. And I'd be like, oh, wow, a topic that I never would have thought of starting. So I really recommend that you try to shut up and move when you're on the mat, and take opportunities. If your sensei says, hey, anybody feel like, if we have a fridge, by the way, at our dojo. So if I say, oh, anyone want to have a quick one? And, we've got beer and we've got sparkling water. We've got all kinds of things in the fridge. People donate them. It's wonderful. If I say, oh, I'm gonna have some sparkling water, feel free to join me. Of course, some people, they got to go, they got to do this, they got to do that. But other people will hang out with me afterwards sometimes. And this is where I have the chance to say like, oh, so-and-so, your Aikido is really getting like this and like that. And these strong points are developing. And next, if you work on this and that, whew, you'll really go far. So take those opportunities. We did that all the time. And it paid off so much. So anyway, I hope that helps. Please keep training, and please wax on, wax off. Please take opportunities, any opportunity with your mentor or your sensei, whether it's 5 minutes or 2 hours, take it, and you will go far. If you want to work with me, as I said, I've got a weekly video newsletter, but I also teach seminars in person. Next month, I will be in, the UK and Ireland, so you can join me there. I'll be teaching in Marples and Wexford. And I'll be in Boston for just one night in July 1st. And then the big event, I will be celebrating the 30th anniversary of our organization, AKI USA. We're going to do that in July in Los Angeles. It'll be July 15th through 19th. It's the 30th anniversary of Aikido Kenkyukai International USA. Then I've got a bunch of other cities coming up as well where I'll be doing seminars. And I'll be taking a group to Germany in September. I've been going to these two different dojos for about 15 years, another dojo for about 5 years, that's Heidelberg, and then another dojo, Zende, it'll be my first visit. So Heidelberg, Bonn, Düsseldorf, and Zende. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So I'll be taking a group with me this time. And of course, we'll spend time on the mat. There's going to be seminars. The organizers, the hosts are organizing all of them. And then we'll be doing some off the mat study as well. And then there'll be chances for sightseeing and just enjoying the culture and learning about Germany. These are wonderful dojos. And like I said, 3 out of the 4 I've been going to every year. So check out the links in the description below. And I'm looking forward to training together with you sometime soon, somewhere. Thanks again for tuning in. And in conclusion, confusion in Aikido is not failure. It is part of the learning process. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.